Welcome back to another reaction video, and I'm doing this late at night. Like, bro, look at that time. I'm a night person, honestly. I mean, I like the night better than the day, because I go to bed at like 2:30 in the morning on weekends and on Fridays, and whenever I'm off from school the next day. So, yeah, just putting that out there. Now, we are reacting to Llama Oats 2017 compilation. Now, this is going to be a very long video. So, I'll be giving my opinion to every story at the end of every animation story. So, my opinion. So, go subscribe to Llama Oats. They're a great channel. They have almost 2 million subscribers. And so yeah, this was made December 31st, aka the New Year's Eve of last year. So this is gonna be a very long video. I'm gonna do my opinion on each animation to tell if it's fake or real, or what it was like. So let's go. These will really scare me, but I'm doing it for you. Make sure to watch this at night, by the way. Let me hide the volume.
My name is Ethan, and I'm a photographer. I took a trip last year with my wife to the Colorado mountains for an art project. My wife is also an avid skier, so she talked me into adding skiing into the trip. We had the option to book a room at a ski resort or rent out a private log cabin. The second one seemed more romantic,
I rent out the log cabin.
Plus, it didn't hurt that it was cheaper.
I will commentate through the stories, through the animations also.
It was a 4-room little thing. A 2-person bedroom, a
I
small
like
living
that
room,
place.
a kitchen, and a bathroom. It may have been small, but the actual idea of being secluded
These
in a
people
warm
put a
log
lot
cabin during
of
the
work
blizzard
into their
was
videos.
amazing. However, the storm was
same
interfering
here.
with the cable signal, so we didn't have much to do this one particular
I hate when that
evening.
happens. I love my internet. I love my cable.
Point, but there was still
Without internet, I can't post videos.
So I
How
thought
am
it
I
would be
going to keep my
perfect for getting
sanity?
a few shots and videos in the blizzard for backgrounds and wallpapers.
The snow is giving me chills in real life.
And slipped on my boots and coat.
It's cold.
The moment I stepped outside and shut the door, I noticed footsteps leading up to the door in the snow that had blown under the wooden awning. I could see the prints double,
I have seen these.
Whoever left them there turned and went the opposite direction. I was freaked the fuck out. I wasn't about to go inside and scare my wife.
Don't repeat that. Anyway, bad word.
My curiosity and
these freak me out sometimes, but not this time.
I noticed that they led to the bedroom window. My heart froze in fear when I saw this. I could see my wife sitting on the bed using her iPad. She noticed me and I waved. She laughed. I continued to follow the footprints around the cabin to the other side.
Don't!
They led to the
as soon as I saw the footprints, I would have went back inside, told my wife, locked all the doors and windows, and if someone came in, I'd grab that nice lamp, whack him over the head with the light bulb, call the cops, and if he woke up, I'd knock him out again. They have to have some kitchen knives or something. Forks, even a spoon.
Not coming from, simply by the boot marks. I followed the prints away
Those are big footprints. They can't be his.
That was where I saw him. A man wearing a black coat facing a tree, slouched down looking at the ground. He was still as a statue, and I could see the snow piling up on his hood and shoulders. I froze in my tracks, trying not to make a sound. I would have thought to ask him if he needed help otherwise, but this guy was just standing there, not doing anything, like some kind of
because of the cold.
I started to gradually move backwards without even turning around, making sure this man didn't turn around or notice me. When I got at a visual distance, I turned around and stomped through the snow back to the cabin. When I slammed the door shut, my wife came over to see what was wrong. I saw worry in her eyes. I guess she saw the worry in mine. She knew I saw something. And after a few minutes of harassment, I finally told her what I saw.
A few minutes of harassment.
She started packing her things, telling me we're leaving right away. I told her no, we're not going anywhere. I would not get a refund for leaving
I would
early,
just
and I
lock all
wasn't
the
about to
windows
up
and
leave
doors
just because some weird guy
and
was
just
walking around outside.
block out the people if
She
there's
made a point of
people.
locking both locks on the door
And
and making sure all of the windows were sealed shut.
They have
For
curtains,
the rest of the night, we read stuff
so
on
I
our
just closed the
iPads.
curtains
I reviewed the pictures
the bedroom
and videos I had
windows.
taken so far.
and all the
We
windows,
turned out the
so he
lights
can't
early,
look
as there
in.
wasn't much else to do. What if he's still out there? I remember my wife asking me. There's no way he's still out there, I then assured her. Listening to the wind blowing outside, along with the small flakes of snow hitting the windows, was strangely relaxing, and I knew I'd be able to fall asleep quickly.
No, that's not relaxing for me.
If it wasn't for
That's cold.
the knock at the bedroom window. We were both still awake.
They have
We both knew it was
lamps.
a knock from a
Break
person.
the lamp over the guy's
I ushered
head.
my wife out of bed
Call
and
the
out into the living
cops.
room without turning on any
Get the
lights.
guy arrested.
There was nothing to use
If
as
the
a
guy
weapon
charged,
whatsoever.
if the guy
Our
that
only option was
owns
to
the
run before something
cabin
might happen.
charges you for the lamp,
I told
so
my
it's
wife we'd have to
self-defense.
forget our luggage
He can't
and
argue
make a dash
there.
for the Jeep.
He or
We
she
slipped on our
can't
boots and
argue
coats in
there.
the dark in a matter of seconds. And when we heard a knock at the living room window from the opposite side of our car, we took that opportunity to run.
Bro,
I pressed the unlock
I'd
button.
want the guy
so
to
grateful
break
I
in.
chose to have remote locks on my Wrangler, and
I
we hopped
wouldn't.
in.
I actually wouldn't.
The car started.
I'd
to
go
heat,
outside,
and as soon as the
whack the
headlights
guy,
flashed on, the man was standing facing the
whack
log
him over the
cabin
head
on
with a
our side
lamp.
now.
Call the cops.
Out a window,
Why don't they do that?
just
So I
facing
keep
the
repeating
wall of the
myself like a
cabin in
broken
the same
record, but
position I'd seen him in
whoa.
earlier, as
Shout out
if
to
he were
Cabin
hiding
12,
his
by the way.
face.
Cabin 12 right there.
We drove
Awesome
to the
cabin.
nearby ski resort without
Cabin
much trouble
12.
on the Jeep.
Dab
We
on
stayed
Cabin
there for
12.
the night and went back the next
Dab.
day to the log cabin to collect our things
Cabin's
we left
dead.
behind.
Means I'm dead.
He wasn't there.
Am I alive? I don't know if I'm alive because I did a dab. Dabbing's dead. Alright, scary true horror stories. Alright, so
27 years.
my opinion for that one, real. Because that's an everyday thing. People go to a cabin, relax. Then there's this creepy guy. First of all, it's a cabin. It's not your everyday house that you wake up and see every day of your life. It's not your house. So, it's a cabin. So yeah, I would expect someone to be in those woods. Crazy or not, I would still be scared. So, my opinion for that one is real.
Old. I live alone in a rural town in Virginia, about 2 blocks away from my parents. My parents are both in their 60s, and my mom has become a very worrisome woman in her old age. Sometimes she
Same.
walks over uninvited.
Even though my
and lets
mom's
herself
not
in,
old,
since
she
I had
is very
regrettably
worried
given
about
her a
me,
key, which
and
can
I
get a bit
understand
annoying.
that completely.
Like if I would be out really late on weekends at a bar or with women, I would sometimes come home to my
Women.
mom sitting in the living room
Not
waiting, worried
woman.
sick.
Like,
I know you may just
woman.
think, oh my god, that's
One.
crazy. Why not just put your foot
Women.
down and tell her to stop?
multiple.
Well, because you don't know my mom. It's very hard to describe
Confirm
her, but
cheater.
she's the
No,
kind of
I'm joking.
worrisome,
Please don't sue
innocent
me.
little
That's a
lady that
joke.
you just can't bring yourself to go against. And I hate to mention, she also has mild dementia. Anyway, this was Saturday night. I think it was around 2 in the morning. I was at a nearby club with a group of college friends, really the only
This
place
kid's
to
in
hang out in this
college.
boring town, and I was getting ready to head home. I said goodbye to all my friends and walked the 3 blocks it took to get back to my house. I walked up my front stoop in my drunken haze and dug my hand in my pocket for my keys. When I grabbed the doorknob, I realized it was unlocked.
Oh, God.
My mom was here
I know where
again.
this is going. I've seen this
I
before.
quietly opened and shut
but
the front door, locking it behind me.
It
I
still
put my keys
kind
on
of
the kitchen
scares me.
counter and found a note written in my mom's handwriting saying, "You forgot this at our house, next to the box of half-eaten
is
cake
not
my
alive.
parents didn't want."
From, I forget
I
the
didn't
game's
see my
name.
mom anywhere, so I
It was
assumed
made-
she must have gone upstairs to sleep in the
It was made by Notch, the creator of Minecraft, but I forget that game. The cake is not a lie. Or the cake is a lie. Made by Notch, the creator of Minecraft. I don't know if the game where the cake is a lie was created by Notch. Correct me if I'm wrong. I forget the name of that game where the cake is a lie. But, correct me if I'm wrong, that game's created by Notch, the creator of Minecraft. Anyway, let's get back in the video.
guest bed until I got back, which is something she would commonly do as well. Then I heard footsteps upstairs, confirming it. And that's when I sighed once again.
But still.
27 years old, almost 3 in the morning, and she still has to wait up and treat me like a child. I ran upstairs to check the guest
Probably
bed,
I wouldn't be in bed.
along with all the bathrooms.
If this was a weekend day and that was me, I'd still be up at 3 in the morning.
So I ran to the phone to call my dad.
Still.
After 4 rings, my dad picked up in a groggy voice, asking what the hell is the matter.
What the hell?
After I told him that I heard Mom wandering around upstairs in my house, there was a short pause, and then he said, "That's not possible. She's sleeping right next to me."
Dun dun dun.
My mouth fell open as I turned my head to face the dark upstairs, and just barely by the light provided by the kitchen, I could see a head peering around from the corner at the top of the stairs, looking down at me.
What?
I screamed into the phone as I ran out the front door and down the street to my parents' house, explaining to my father on the way. About halfway there, my dad told me, "All right, I'm going to call the cops," and hung up.
Bro,
I made it to
why
my
would
parents'
you
house,
call the
where my mom
cops
was already
when he
waiting
has
at
a
the door,
phone?
worried sick.
I guess because he's out of the
My mom
house,
explained that she did
but
come over to
still,
clean my kitchen a
the
little bit and
dad's
to
not
bring
in
over
the
the cake
house.
they didn't want. 2 police cars pulled up in front of my parents' house, where they escorted me and my dad down the street to my house. One officer stayed outside with us,
Why
while 2 others
would
went
you
inside to
leave
investigate.
the mom though,
It felt
who's
like
weak
15 minutes
and
before
brittle,
they
no
came back
offense,
outside and said
but
it was
who's
clear.
weak,
They
brittle.
checked the crawl space,
Oh,
the
that's the
attic,
crawl space in
everything.
Resident Evil
There was
7.
really nothing for me to report, other than the door was
That's a
left
crawl
unlocked,
space in
and I saw
Resident
the
Evil
outline
7.
of a head
Good game.
upstairs before I ran
But
for
still, why would you leave the
Still,
mother,
I didn't feel safe sleeping
who
in there that
can't
night, so I went
even
back to my parents'
hurt
house.
a human?
Me and my dad are certain
Because,
that my
like,
mom simply
if
forgot
someone
to
came
lock the
after
door
her,
when she left,
she would be
as her memory has
defenseless.
been getting
She
worse
wouldn't have
over
any
the past few
self-defense.
months.
So,
My
I would
dad
at
has been
least
stopping her from
leave the
coming
mother
over
in the
alone
house.
from now on,
Or I
which
wouldn't.
makes me both
I'd
sad,
bring,
but
if I was a
also
cop,
relieved.
I'd bring the mother with us.
Some nights I still get paranoid that whoever was in my house that night never left and is still hiding in here somewhere.
See, if that was me. Alright, this story, real. 100% real. Because that also is an everyday thing. Because your mom comes over, or anyone comes over, and they walk in, forget to lock the door. People forget to lock the door all the time. Most people don't even lock their doors because they're in a trusted area. Trusted. You can never trust anyone. Even if you lived in a neighborhood for 50 years, still can't trust anyone. But anyway, so someone comes over, gives you you're eating at a restaurant or a bar. Your friend comes over, gives you a present, forgets to lock the door. A guy walks in you don't know, who could be a multi-jail time person who's committed crimes, murders, bank robberies, very dangerous, and is in your house. Hears someone go in the house, probably thinks, "Ooh, here's my next victim." Ooh. See what I would do? Get a pan, whack the guy. Same thing as the last one. Whack the guy, call the cops. 100% real. School lockdown. Never happened to me, knock on wood.
It was a typical boring day in calculus, only it was Friday, 7th period, meaning the week was almost over and spring break would finally be upon us. So everybody was getting antsy in their seats, I could tell. We didn't have a test that day like a lot of my friends did with their other teachers, so our teacher in the middle of class just decided to start playing games with us on Sporkle.com.
Sporkle?
He was a very
I've heard of
teacher like
I've
that.
heard of Kahoot.
As we were
but
doing
what's
some
Sporkle?
brand logo quiz on Sporkle, I remember the
I don't know what
exact moment it
Sporkle is.
happened.
Do you guys know what Sporkle.com is?
Right
I
after
don't.
my friend answered a question, I remember the exact answer too, Adidas. The dean's voice came through the
Adidas.
loudspeaker.
The hoodie's like $50.
He sounded panicked and frantic
I have
as he
Adidas,
told all
but
the teachers this was not
still,
a
it
drill
was short,
and to go
not
into
a
lockdown. I actually got the chills, and I got goosebumps on my arms as our usually laid-back teacher too seemed panicked as he ran to turn off the lights and ushered us to the back corner of the room. We all sat in silence for about 2 minutes, and then the usual buzzing that came from a panel in the back of the room ceased, indicating that the school must have cut
say
all
a person's
the power.
in the school.
We all looked at
He
each other,
goes
realizing
to his
this must be
classroom.
serious.
The door is locked.
A few more minutes of
Why
waiting
is the
later,
door locked, the
we
guy
heard
asks.
a man screaming
Is
at
there
the top
someone
of
in the
his lungs
classroom?
coming down the hallway.
Why would the
Two
door
girls
be
in the class
locked?
actually started crying, which made all of us even more
Why would the
scared.
door be
As
locked
the
and
screaming
no
got
one
closer
inside the
to
classroom?
the lunatic-sounding man started banging on the
But
lockers
still,
while
always
screaming,
lock the
"I'll
doors
kill
during
all
a
of
school
you."
lockdown. Always lock the doors
It
no
was
matter
at that
what.
moment that
No
I
matter
started
where
to
you
fear
are.
for my life.
But,
My
okay,
teacher shushed
so
us as we all looked at each other.
you lock
to
the
see our
door,
peers'
someone
reactions.
knows someone's in there, because
The
why would they
banging then
lock
moved from the lockers
themselves
to our
out of the classroom?
door.
You keep trying to break in because they
And
want
that's when one of the
victims.
crying girls screamed no. The banging on the door only grew worse as the man started screaming,
Missing
"Open up."
front row teeth.
2 of the girls in the class were crying out loud now.
Because if
It
it's
felt like an
locked,
eternity
someone
that
would be
man was pounding at the
encouraged
door. But
to
eventually,
bust
he
out
finally
down that
continued
door.
down the hallway,
But still though,
screaming
don't
like a
take my
mentally
advice.
insane person
If you're a
until we could
teacher
not hear
and
him
you're
anymore.
watching this, or a principal of a
I'd say
school,
10 minutes later,
and this
though it
happens
felt
to
like
you,
half an hour
like
given
someone
the
breaks into your
situation,
school,
the dean came back
lock
on
the
the
doors
loudspeaker
still.
explaining the situation,
Still lock the
which was
doors.
surprising for him to do.
Can't be too
He
safe.
explained that
Even
some
though the guy will be
apparently mentally
encouraged
unstable
to break
person
in
entered the
there,
building and assaulted the woman sitting at the front
still
desk,
lock the door.
causing her to flee the
Because the guy
building
could get
screaming,
bored,
and staff
and
wasn't
always
sure if the
put
man was
desks
armed
and
or not.
chairs in front of the
Now, this
door.
was before the school had cameras or could afford proper security.
What
so
years
the
is
school
from when
was
they
wide
can't
open
afford
to something like
cameras?
this happening.
The school, they
The
make money
staff had
from
done a
lunch,
sweep of all the
lunch money
hallways
from
and classrooms
kids,
and couldn't
lunch
find
money
him,
from
so the
charity,
dean
not lunch
instructed
money,
the teachers
money
to
from
resume teaching, but to
charities,
keep all the doors locked and to not let any students
lunch money
leave
from
for any
kids.
reasons.
How could they not afford
The
cameras?
most disturbing
Only
part,
like
however,
$100.
is that one of the janitors working the night shift
I could
found the
afford
man
that.
sleeping in one of the storage closets near the back end of the school. And according to rumors that were spread by my peers, sticking out of his pocket was a .44
The
Magnum.
most powerful handgun in
The
the world.
janitor must have
It could
done
blow your
something
head
stupid to wake
clean
him up.
off.
For example, leaving the closet door open, because by the time a police officer could arrive on
Whoa!
the scene,
He's a crazy
the man was
person
gone.
with a gun. Take
My
the
entire
gun
class, as far
away
as I
from
know, to
him.
this day, has
At
no idea
least
if this
take the
man was
gun.
ever found. But I like to think that right now, he's being given the proper help that he needs.
At least take the gun. Okay. This story, 50-50. 50% real, because school break-ins is also an everyday thing. All around the world. Schools. People try to break in. That's my 50% for this to be real. 50% to be fake. Why did the dumb janitor leave him there? At least don't wake him up. Don't harm him. At least take the gun so he has no weapons. He only has his fists and his feet and his legs. What can they do? You could dodge out away from that. You could see him moving towards you, punching towards you. You could duck, move out the way, shift your head to the right or left. But at least grab the gun, give it to the principal, give it to the assistant principal, any type of adult, and just leave it there. Give it to someone who will take care of it. When the guy wakes up to reach for his gun, not there. 50-50. Hitchhiking. Don't hitchhike. Don't be a hitch.
3 months after I
Hyper
turned 16
person.
in 2005, I got my first car, a '99 Toyota Camry. On a
'Cause
warm Saturday night, when my friend Alex invited me
if you
over to one
go
of his
in,
friend's big parties,
say
I knew
you're
I
a
wouldn't be in a
hitchhiker.
condition to drive the Camry home afterward.
Hike down
So
a car.
we carpooled with
Post
Alex's
ups.
girlfriend Brianna.
The
We lived
driver
in the
could be a
countryside of
serial
Virginia,
killer.
meaning
He could
less
kill
big
you in the
parties.
car.
Meaning when there was a big party, it was a huge deal and everyone would go.
And if you're a
We
driver
lived
for
about 5 to 10
hitchhikers,
minutes away from this kid's
and
house.
someone
I knew
flags
where
you
he lived
down,
as I was acquainted with him, but not exactly friends.
and you stop for
The whole
them,
ride there, we took
that
the
person
same
could be
two-lane
crazy
highway type
and
road
kill the
through
driver.
woods, and this kid's house was actually on this road further down. At certain points
So,
on this road, there were a few
don't be a
houses on either
hitchhike
side,
driver,
and then it would just go back to being a long,
or don't be a
empty highway
hitchhiker.
again.
No matter how desperate you
The
are.
house
And
was
if someone
tiny, like a
says,
lot of
and
houses
you're
around
walking
the
on
area,
a dark
but the
road
party
at
was
night,
held outside anyway,
and someone says,
since his closest
hey, get in my
neighbors were
car, I could drive you
relatively
to your
far away,
place.
and noise wasn't
Run.
an issue.
Run.
I'll skip most of the party up until the
Just
point that
run.
Brianna, who was supposed to be our designated driver, had to suddenly leave for a small family emergency.
Don't.
Alex said it was fine and that we'd find a ride home. Well, fast forward another few hours and another few drinks, and I could barely even walk straight. I checked my watch, and it was like 2 in the morning. I figured it was time
I'll
to
be
go.
awake.
I started looking for Alex, but I couldn't find him anywhere. In fact, it seemed like everybody I knew had already left. I could barely even think straight, but I was still furious at the fact that Alex could have actually left without me. I asked to use the party host's phone and dialed Alex's home number. After 2 tries, I gave up and then realized I shouldn't wake his family up. So, literally not knowing what else to do, I dizzily stepped out onto the road and began walking
I don't
back
stay
home.
at the party.
I knew this
Let's
walk
stay
would
at the
take
guy's
anywhere
house
from
till
half
the
an hour
morning.
to an hour in my condition. Maybe
The
after
party host
15
is
minutes
nice.
of walking down the road, the slight shine of car headlights on the road was fading in from
But
behind
yeah,
me.
you don't trust the party
Jumping
host.
for joy
But
inside,
if the
I
if the
lifted up
people
my
know
arm and stuck
him
out my
and you're
thumb.
their friends,
As the car neared, it
bro,
slowed
I
down
would
and
stay
came
at
to
the
a
host's
stop right
house.
next to me.
Ask, hey, my
The
friend
man
abandoned
driving
me
the
here. Can I
98 Ford
please stay at your
Explorer
house
rolled
in the
down the
morning?
window and asked where you headed.
If the guy
I told him my
says
house
yes,
was just
take
down the
that
road and beyond the
opportunity.
right turn, probably slurring my words beyond comprehension.
But I would
He
not
chuckled and
not
told me to hop in.
walk on a road
I
at
thanked
2 in
him
the
and
morning.
joyously hopped into the truck. I was exhausted, and I remember completely disregarding things the guy was asking me because I was so close to just passing out. And that's what happened. The memories of being in that truck turned to a fog, as I'm sure I passed out.
You're sure?
The next thing I remember, I woke up still in the moving truck. The guy looked at me and laughed, but didn't say anything. I looked around and realized the road we were on wasn't familiar. I nervously asked, where are we going? He then said, so what were you doing out this late anyway? As the man answered my very straightforward question with another irrelevant question, the sobering reality of the situation hit me. You can let me out anywhere, I told the man. The man responded with a firm no. I felt like throwing up as he said that. No, I really actually felt like I was going to throw up.
Punch him with the
I
hand
started
that
to
he
gag
can't
as I
see.
felt more and more nauseous by the second.
Punch
the man took
him.
his eyes off the road to
Take
look at me.
control of the wheel.
And that's when I thought of the perfect
Stop the
distraction.
car and jump
I
out.
turned in his direction as I continued to gag, and he started to kind of lean away and slow down the car. Thankfully,
you can
I
do
drank
this
as much as I did, because
if
I
you're
finally
drunk.
threw up and made a point of doing it all over the man's lap. The man yelled in frustration and stopped the car, and that's when I took it upon myself to run for my life into the woods and duck behind a few bushes. The man came following into the woods with a flashlight, and on 2 separate occasions, he shined the light straight over me without noticing. Eventually, I heard his footsteps walk even further into the woods past me. That was when I ran back to his truck, but unfortunately, he was smart enough to lock it. By some miracle, I saw another car approaching in the distance, and I ran out into the middle of
why
the
would he
street,
take the
waving my
same
arms like a
chance
lunatic.
twice?
The car tried to avoid me,
Bruh,
but I wouldn't let it.
I would not take the
They
same
were forced
chance
to stop, and I yelled at them to
twice.
help me before they came back. Once I told them that I was kidnapped by the man who was driving that Ford Explorer, the driver agreed to give me a lift. Not to the police station or anything, but to my house. I made it back safely, where I couldn't thank the driver enough. I immediately woke up my parents and told them. My dad wanted to know if I got his tag number, and then I felt like punching myself in the face. I failed to get the simplest information from the guy that would have allowed me to actually properly report him. All I knew was that he drove a faded blue '99 Ford Explorer. I made sure to give Alex a piece of my mind, and part of me always held a grudge against him ever since, just for abandoning me at a party without telling me. I haven't seen him in 4 years now, however, and this was actually the first time I even thought about this incident for almost a year now. As time goes on, even the worst of memories may start to fade. But after
Yeah.
writing this to share with the internet, it's once again
Fresh in my mind. Real. Because people hitchhike. Either the driver or the hitchhiker is crazy. But yeah, it's real. Because once again, mostly everyday thing. People hitchhike. The driver's crazy or the hitchhiker is crazy. Real. We just gotta chill. House sitting. Oh. Oh, what's this? This is new. I don't remember seeing this. Jeez, I don't remember seeing that
A
when I
couple
watched
weeks
this.
ago, my dad came home and pitched me a small job
I mean,
offer.
I saw this, but I didn't see
One
the
of his coworkers
beginning.
was going away for a few days and needed somebody he could trust to
Hey,
watch over his
adulthood.
house.
I like those.
The reason my dad pitched this to me was because the man's house has a big CCTV system.
I'm good at
Basically
cameras.
a camera in every room, and then an operating desk where all screens could be watched on a big monitor. And I'm a computer science major, so my dad just always assumed that I know how to work anything technological. The man told my dad that he'd pay me $200 for the 2 days just to watch the house. Whatever that meant. My dad drove me to the house and introduced me to the man, whose name doesn't matter. The man made it seem like he preferred I stay in the upstairs room with the monitors as opposed to roaming the house all day. That was fine with me, though. So when I wasn't eating, I was mostly just sitting in that room with the TV on in the background and doing schoolwork on my laptop.
I don't know if you noticed that Easter egg,
Ironically, the
but
thing I was doing the least was keeping an eye on the monitors.
it's disgusting.
Night came. I started wondering
It's
where
in the
in the house I
fridge,
should
when he
sleep,
was looking
and
in the fridge.
surprisingly, we hadn't discussed
It's
that.
disgusting.
So I sat back down at the desk and looked at all the different rooms on the screens to see which rooms had beds or couches. I noticed something I wasn't expecting to notice,
This
though.
video will be
The
uploaded
back
on
screen
1
door
a.m.,
was
so...
open downstairs.
What time is it?
I didn't remember it being open.
I'm gonna check on my
I
phone.
looked through each and every camera screen in
I'm
panic.
so sorry, guys.
In the living room, a closet
I'm
door
so
was
sorry.
open. This one I knew wasn't open earlier.
Whoa.
I texted my dad to call the man and ask him if he came back home.
It's
Meanwhile,
1:04
I continued
a.m.
watching the screen. On the grainy, dark image, a
Yeah, this
tall
video will be
person who
uploaded,
resembled only a black shadow on the screen stepped out
Probably
from the
on...
closet.
What? How long is...
I
Okay,
pulled my
we're
arms
about
off the
halfway
desk
done.
as I covered my mouth
Yeah, we're
with my
about
hands
halfway
in
done
shock.
with the video, honestly.
As I did this, however, my left elbow pulled some heavy object from the desk onto the floor, creating a big thud. The person in the image very clearly moved their head up to the ceiling.
This
as a
video
response
will be
to the
uploaded
noise.
around 2 a.m.,
They went for the
1
stairs,
a.m.,
walking up
well,
very,
past 1
very
a.m.,
slowly, step by step.
1:30 a.m.,
Meanwhile, I got a text back from my dad
1:45,
saying, "No, he's
2
not.
a.m.
I just spoke to him half an hour ago. Why?" I got so caught up in my phone texting my dad to send help that I didn't even pay attention to the monitor. There was a knock at the door. I looked at it and then the screens. The first screen I laid my eyes on was the one showing the person outside the door to the room I was in. When I remembered that door had no lock, the only thing I could think to do was jump out the window into the bushes below. I ran halfway down the block and then stopped when my dad called me. I had him call his friend and ask him if he was expecting somebody in the house. The man said he had no relatives or friends who had his key or would ever let themselves into his home. So he called the cops and had them review the footage. I got to watch all of it, and it showed everything. From the moment the intruder broke the glass to the backyard door, to the moment I jumped out the window and him running away shortly after. The intruder was never found. The footage was just too dark to identify his face.
Fake. Because conveniently, very conveniently, the night that the kid was watching the cameras, the guy broke in. Sure, it's an everyday thing. It could happen any time. But why that night when the kid when the kid was watching the cameras. My uncle's here. Yeah, he usually comes down here on 105, 110, or 110. He usually comes down here around this time. Huh? Yeah, it's pretty warm in here. But, yeah, he usually comes around this time. Usually stays up to the time I do, honestly. I mean, me and him go to bed at the same time. Every weekend. Well, he goes to bed at the time I do every day of the week. But I only go to bed his time on the weekends on a Friday. I have no school the next day. We're getting off track. But, so yeah. This story is fake because the night that the kid was watching the security video, or the cameras, the guy broke in. And why would he get so caught up on texting his dad? Text him once, look up at the cameras. As soon as he texts back, look down. Up, down, up, down. Simple. And when he was pushing that can, did he have short sleeves?
The wind.
This kid have short sleeves.
Onto the floor, creating a big.
About short sleeves. But I could hear the scraping. I could hear the scraping of the can on the desk. As soon as I touched it and I heard the scraping, I would have stopped. And plus, if the scraping never happened, I could have still felt it because I could feel the can touching my arm. I have long sleeves on right now, and let me just touch a vase right here. I could feel that. The vase is basically the can. So this video was, or the story was faked.
I ran halfway down the lightning wood. Thud coming from outside at the same time. I did.
Wait, is this?
During one of the big.
Oh, okay. This is a new story. So, what's this story? True creepy thunderstorm horror stories. Okay. Hold on, guys. I need to take a water break. By that I mean going to drink some water, because I'm thirsty from all this talking. Alright, my water break is done. True creepy thunderstorm horror stories. We already saw this, but might as well start it over.
In the year 2009, I was spending a weekend with my uncle on his ranch when my parents were renovating the new house we had just bought.
Cool.
It was my second night there, a Saturday, and it happened to be during one of the biggest thunderstorms of the year. I'd say there were at least 3 crashes of thunder and lightning per minute.
Ooh.
And we were in the heart of the storm.
Thunder is cool, but lightning kills people.
Second after the lightning would.
Thunder.
I always enjoyed listening to storms while laying in bed.
It's an invisible
so I stayed up a little
substance.
later watching TV, just enjoying the ambiance.
Thunder doesn't exist, but it
After
exists.
the movie I was
If
watching
you get what I'm
finally ended,
saying.
I turned off the TV and tried to fall
The sound
asleep.
exists, but thunder itself doesn't exist.
As I heard the lightning strike from outside, I could have sworn I heard some kind of metallic thud coming from outside at the same time.
Huh.
I didn't pay it too much mind.
I would. I'd check.
20 seconds later,
Ooh. Let me know if you hear that clank at the bottom.
a very distinct metallic thud
Let me
coming
know
from
if you hear
outside
that
to match
clank
timing
in the
of
video
lightning.
that I'm watching.
I really don't mean to make this sound like a
in the
cliche
comments
horror
below.
story, but my uncle really is a kind of creepy guy, and I was never close with him, even remotely. So for that
Why are you
reason, I
staying
didn't
with
feel
him
right
if
going to
he's
wake him up.
creepy?
I just tried to forget about it.
And you're admitting this to the internet? I mean, it's the
Now I
same
was
guy.
getting concerned. What
but-
the hell could that be?
See, Llama Oats gathers up these clips, or gathers up these stories from, I guess, Reddit, or friends. Reddit or friends, I don't know. But people share stuff on Reddit about their life, Reddit users. I don't use Reddit, but it's a good app. And he gets it off of Reddit, I guess, or his friends, I don't know. And he gets the guy from Mr. Nightmare to voice all the stories that have happened to these people. So, yeah.
Here's
Might
the
as well
third
put that
time
out
I
there.
finally got out of bed and walked over to the window of the guest bedroom. The water pouring down on the window made it extra hard to see what was out there in the dark fields. A flash of lightning momentarily lit up the property, but I couldn't see anything. However, once again, the sound of a metal hit accompanied it. The sound was so close now, it sounded like it was coming from the left of the window at a blind spot. I was going to do something I knew my uncle wouldn't be happy about. It would be a bit messy, but I was going to open the window and peer outside to see if I could see what the sound was. I unhooked the window lock and slid it up, and immediately the wind of the storm blew drops of rain into the room and onto me. I stuck my head out the window and looked to the left, and at that very moment, lightning lit up the property once again, and I could see a person dressed in all black crouched down by the outside basement door with his hand raised in the air. And before the sky went dark, I caught the briefest glimpse of what the sound was coming from. The person was bashing at the basement door lock.
The
I pulled
basement?
my head in and quietly shut the window, making sure to lock it. I was in a panic. I feared he might have seen or heard me. I ran back to bed and pretended to be asleep, facing away from the window. Lightning crashed once again, but this time there was no metallic thud. My heart must have dropped as I realized
the first time I thought I heard that metallic thud, I checked. As soon as I saw that,
After maybe
as soon as I saw the guy,
accompanying them, I thought it would be safe to go tell my uncle. I turned to face the window and screamed. There was a figure, clear as day, standing at the window, looking in at me. I screamed as loud as I could and ran straight to my uncle's room. He went outside with his hunting rifle with nothing on but his
is he on
pajamas,
the first
not
floor or
even
the
socks.
second floor?
He ran around the entire property yelling like a madman, but didn't find anyone.
Is he on the first floor or the second floor?
The next morning,
Because if
we
he's
were
on the
able to better
second
see the marks on
floor,
the basement door lock.
this is fake.
It was almost bashed open. Maybe three
He's
or
on
four
the
more
first
good hits would have done
floor.
it, according to my
This
uncle.
could be real.
He was proud of me for picking up on it. Luckily, I was out of there that same day. My uncle hasn't told us of any incidents since, so I think he's been okay. Not that we talked to him much at all.
Huh.
I'm grateful I stayed up a little later that night watching that movie, because I may have just stopped a robbery, or possibly much worse.
But I would check the first time I heard that metallic thud. Alright. 50-50. Cause I don't know if he was on the first floor or the second floor. Because if he was on the second floor, it would be fake. Because how could the guy get up there that fast? And why didn't he check it the first time? And when he saw it, why didn't he take action as soon as he first saw it? And went to sleep away from the window. Bro, I don't know. 50-50. Snapchat. Even though Snapchat is an awesome app,
This happened a week ago.
don't use it.
Up until a few days ago, I went to a small local gym in my now
Black
previous
Bear
New Jersey
Fitness.
town called Black Bear
That's
Fitness.
bad.
One day, I had the
Because-
misfortune of running into some skinny, awkward, yet creepy-looking kid, probably 18
God.
years old.
Bro, if
He
that
didn't
kid
look like he
encountered
belonged in the
me,
gym at all.
I'd be like,
I had headphones in
Hey,
and I was doing
buddy.
my set when I heard him saying something to me, but it was muffled by the music.
I need to go to the bathroom.
I was already annoyed with this
Yeah.
kid, given that he was breaking an
Yeah,
unwritten
the
rule of
reason why
gym.
I'm going to the
Don't
front
try to talk
door
to somebody when they're doing their sets.
is
I took my time finishing my set, and then took my headphones out to ask if he
because
needed
the
something.
bathroom
Then
is
he
at
started
my
acting like I
house.
looked familiar, but right away I
Run.
knew this kid was just trying some pathetic attempt at making friends. I assured him I didn't, but the kid wouldn't stop talking to me. I'll skip most of the conversation, but eventually he
Oh my
actually asked me for my
God.
Instagram and Snapchat.
Guys, you see what I just saw? Socks with sandals. Bro, socks with sandals. That is just... If I saw socks with sandals, I'd be like,
That, weirdly enough,
I don't wanna
and
talk
for
to
whatever
you.
reason, I gave them to him. Instead of just saying something like, buddy, I'm trying to work out, or I don't have social media. After I gave him my Snapchat and Instagram, however, I did kind of urge him
Reason
to
why
let me resume my workout.
don't use
He finally seemed to
Snapchat,
get the message
because
and walked away.
if you
Not without
use
saying bye,
Snapchat
like
too
3
much,
times,
people can
though.
stalk you, come to your house, break in.
That night, I got a snap on my phone saying from Sean. I immediately sighed and said, oh no. Just wondering why the hell the kid would snap me. I opened the snap, and the kid was in a creepy, weird pose.
Oh God.
Face way too close to the camera, with his head resting in his hand and the half smile on his
Like
face.
Quagmire from Family Guy.
The text over the
Giggity,
picture was,
giggity,
hey,
goo.
was too wise. I muttered the words, what the fuck?
Don't use that word.
For the record, I'm a guy, which made this even more weird.
Yeah.
My thought process was, I've had enough of this loser already. I'm gonna remove him and make it clear I don't want to talk if I see him at the gym again. And so I did. I removed him minutes after he sent that snap. I'm sure not even a minute
Cardboard
later,
fishies.
again, the message popped up on my phone, saying Snapchat from Sean. I waited a few minutes before opening it. This one was even creepier. Now the kid was sitting up on his bed. No smile, more of a
What's that
surprised,
skull in the
angry expression.
background?
The text over the image said, why did you remove me? Now I went as far as to block him, meaning he couldn't snap me anymore. And that was that. I threw my phone on the desk and sighed out of relief. Half an hour later, my phone goes off, saying Sean added you as a friend, and then Snapchat from Sean. He actually made a new account. I opened the snap and felt my heart drop. It was a picture of my front lawn. The text over it, answer me, bitch.
I would
The
blow
first thing
that,
I could
but
think of
I
was,
can't.
how did he find my address?
I would have covered it up
Then I
with my
realized
hand, but it would cover up too
Snapchat
much
made
of
that new
the
map feature that lets you see
iPad.
where your friends are.
Plus my hand's
Somehow
too
I had the
big.
balls to open the
My
window
hand's
to
too
see
big.
outside. It was clear out there. I shut the window and the blinds and started considering calling 911.
Call it.
There was the sound of taps on the window. I took a deep breath, and with one swift motion, I pulled up the blind and the window at the same time and pulled the kid into my room by his neck. I punched him in the face a few times before he was out cold. Now I called 911. By the time they arrived, he was awake, cursing me out, promising he'd be back and kill me. The cops heard it all. I didn't even have to make a case. The kid was an idiot. Luckily, the timing of this worked out well, because I just moved a couple days ago out of state.
But
Only thing that worries
if he
me,
didn't let him
I don't
in,
want to have to make a new Snapchat account.
if he
But
didn't
anytime
punch him,
somebody new adds me
and
on
he
the app,
moved,
I'll never know if it's
and
secretly
he
that Sean
followed
kid again.
him to wherever he moved, that kid is a complete stalker, crazy person, weirdo. True. 100% true. Because Snapchat, okay, here's a board, and here is my example of Snapchat. Snapchat, use it too much. People stalk you. People come in your house. Like this story. Don't use Snapchat. So guys, don't use Snapchat because people can stalk you. People can follow you. People can just follow you and stalk you and break into your house if you use Snapchat too much. Don't use Snapchat. This is real. 100%. Scary vacation at Halloween.
I was vacationing in the Bahamas when I was 14 with some family friends. My friend and I were getting some henna tattoos at the hotel, and there was this guy lingering around us. But we didn't think much of it because a lot of people would stop to see what was going on. After mine was done, I told my friend and her mom I was going to go back to the room to get ready for dinner. There were two ways to the other side of the hotel, either inside through a bunch of small stores or outside along the pool. I walked through the inside and got to the elevator, where I saw the guy who had been watching us already at the elevator. We got on together, and he gestured for me to choose my floor button first. I clicked it, but he didn't choose another floor. Alarms start going off in my head. But what could I do? I was stuck in an elevator.
No, I've seen
The
this,
elevator
but
stopped
no.
on my floor, and I started walking to my room. In this hotel, most of the rooms face the ocean, so to the right in this hallway were just windows. I was in the very last room on that floor, and I could see the guy following me about 10 feet behind. About 2 doors from my room, he ran up and grabbed me. I kicked and screamed, and he dropped
What?
onto the floor. I ran
I mean,
to the
I've
room
seen
and locked
this, but-
myself in. After
Bruh.
talking with security and giving a description, they found the guy and found out that he had actually been following multiple younger women in the building.
What? Real? I don't even have to explain. Scary field trip horror stories.
Back in high school, I took a mysteries and mythology type class, or something
I like
that. I
mysteries.
don't remember the
Not
name
murder
of the class.
mysteries.
It basically just had to do with real life mysteries and creepy shit. I was into that kind of stuff. I was taking the class with a good friend, who I'll call Ben for this story. The
Ben.
teacher of the class took us on a field trip to a nearby
Hey,
abandoned
Ben.
village
Hi,
with an
Ben.
unknown past. The village was built in the early 1900s, but seems as though it had been quickly abandoned shortly after it was built. The bus ride there was about 20 minutes. All of us were glued to the bus windows as we pulled up some sketchy-looking, decrepit road cutting through dense forest.
I'd like that. That'd be
The
fun.
road eventually led to a clearing. We were there. We stepped out onto the road, which had grass growing through the cracks. The grass surrounding was almost knee-high. Then there were the buildings. The tall, archaic brick buildings with the boarded-up windows.
I would
all
go
give off such chilling
House by
vibes.
house. And I'd
The teacher
go
lined all
in
20
that.
of us up,
I'd
counted
go in the
heads, and then
scariest
began leading the
building
way.
last.
The point of this little
With a
field
friend,
trip
of
was to
course.
use the so-called skills we learned in class to see if we could put anything together about why the village may have been abandoned so long ago. Some of the buildings had holes in the walls to serve as entryways. There were even holes in the ground next to some of the buildings, seemingly dug to get into the basements of some of the buildings, which seemed creepy. There was one building, though. It stood taller than any of the others.
That one,
It just
I'd go in
intrigued me
last.
the most.
Because that one's scary.
While the teacher was leading the group towards the village church, Ben and I decided to sneak off on our own to look for anything interesting.
I would.
When we walked
I don't
off in the
care.
direction of the
I
tallest
don't care I
building,
would get in trouble.
we saw a
I'd
hole
go.
in the ground. It was dug by the back door of the building, which had been sealed off. In the hole was a ladder, which led down to the concrete floor below. We both looked at each other and knew we had to do it.
Yeah.
Ben climbed down first, then me. Luckily, this was just around the time Apple started putting flashlights on their phones, so we had a source of light. It was creepy down there. There were a couple of beer
There
bottles,
is
one
nothing.
graffiti tag on the wall,
Yeah.
and
If I
dusty
see
wooden
there is
planks
nothing,
everywhere.
there is something.
There was a wooden stairway which led up to complete darkness, since all windows and doors had been sealed shut from above. We had already gone as far as to enter the building, so we figured we'd go up the stairs too. I went first, and with each step, the creakiness of the 100-year-old wood made me feel as if I was going to fall through each and every step. Ben followed suit. This floor of the building was very tight. It seemed like there were many
gives me
openings
chills.
going off into different, smaller rooms. It was so dark in there, you would never even guess it was daytime. Ben and I were honestly starting to get creeped out in there, and agreed to go back outside. But just then, there was a noise in one of the tiny rooms, like a big rock hitting the concrete floor. A normal instinct would be to run,
I would
but Ben
put
and
my
I
flashlight phone away.
locked eyes for a moment,
Film that.
then both
That'd
tiptoed
make,
over to the
that'd
opening
make
of the
my
room.
channel explode.
We shined the lights into the room and ran. We ran back down the stairs and then up the rusty ladder back outside. We caught up to the group out of breath. We didn't say anything, though, to avoid getting in trouble.
I know
One
you're
of our
tempted to know
classmates
what was
asked
in
us what was
that
wrong.
room, but
We told him we snuck
it
into
was
one
gonna
of the
be
buildings.
cool.
And in
It
one
is
of the
cool
rooms,
and
when we
scary.
shined the light
First time I
into it,
saw that, I was like,
we saw 3 guys
oh
standing
god,
maybe 10
yeah.
feet away from the doorway, facing Ben and I in a weird formation, as if they were waiting for us. As we continued following the group, we paid extra attention to the tall building we entered from the distance. And before leaving, we saw a person's face at one of the higher level windows that had not been boarded up.
Higher level windows?
We never told the teacher in fear of getting in trouble. We didn't know what to think. Were those just homeless people living in there? Were they gang members in hiding? Ben freaks me out with his theory. He says they were ghosts of the people who once lived in the town. Still, the way the 3 guys were just hauntingly standing there so calmly, staring at us the moment we peeked our heads through that doorway, I still can't get that image out of my head. I may go back to that village one day.
Why?
Just to prove Ben's idea wrong.
Bro. Don't. He died. R.I.P. Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve horror stories? No. No. Anything on Christmas Eve that happens bad? Nothing happened bad this year.
Last year on Christmas
But
Eve,
still.
I was working late. I'm 23. I work in New York City and commute home every day on the train. Since I'm one of the younger ones in the office, I got stuck with one of the worst shifts, so I wasn't able to get home until 5 o'clock. My family had already left a whole hour earlier to go to my cousin's house, so I had to drive alone. After having a quick snack before the half-hour drive, I got back in my car and put my cousin's address into my phone.
That last one,
Halfway through the drive,
I don't know if I rated them. I keep forgetting. All of a sudden. This one, the ghost one, since he went back, I'm going to say that's fake. Because since he went back.
Stayed until around 11 shifts, so I wasn't able to get home until 5
Yeah,
o'clock.
we'll leave off here.
My family had already left a whole hour earlier to go to my cousin's house, so I had to drive alone.
No.
After having a quick snack before the half-hour drive,
But I would
got
just
back in my
enjoy
car
Christmas
and
Eve
put
on
my
my
cousin's
own.
address into my phone. Halfway through the drive, it started snowing. I got to my cousin's house around 6 o'clock. It was snowing heavily by this point, and I just made it in time to catch everyone starting dinner. I brought all of my gifts inside and cheerfully said hey to everyone.
Aw.
I stayed until around 11 o'clock. The rest of my family left a little sooner. I stayed an extra half hour or so just to hang out before leaving myself.
I'd leave.
By the time I was
I'd
leaving,
leave with
the
them.
ground had accumulated at least 2 feet of snow, and it wasn't even done snowing. The drive home was nightmarish. The roads were hardly
Yeah.
even plowed, and I had to drive under 20 miles per hour on most roads. The roads were completely dead at this point, though, most likely because everyone was smart enough to go home before the snow accumulated.
Is that even
Eventually, I
the
turned
road?
onto a main road that I'm sure would usually be bustling, but at 11:15
Well,
on Christmas Eve
a minute
night, there
ago,
wasn't a single
he was
car or
driving
a
on
single light in
snow,
the store.
and now he's
It
not.
was a ghost town. But then I did notice the flashing taillights of one car. It was
So,
parked on the side of the road,
that red
and
smoke.
the smoke seeping out from its
I don't like
exhaust
that.
with the taillights
When I
giving it a
first
red
saw
tint.
that red smoke, I was like,
As I got closer,
Uh-uh.
I realized there was somebody next to the car waving their hand in the air. I assumed
No.
something was wrong and they needed help.
I'd
So,
go.
me being the good Samaritan I am, I pulled up behind the car. When I opened my door, the guy approached me immediately.
If it was in the
barely
daytime
even
and
giving me
people were
time to
driving
step
on
out.
that road,
He
yeah.
was an average-sized man, probably 5'10",
Hey, Santa.
180 pounds.
But no, if
He
it was
spoke
in the
a very
daytime and
demanding
cars were on
voice,
that road,
asking me if I
yeah,
know
I'd
anything
do it.
about fixing an engine.
But it's
I told him I
nighttime.
didn't know much
No
about
one's
cars.
on the road but him and
The guy
you.
responded
No,
very
I'd
quickly to
drive by the
everything I
guy.
said. He told me it's fine,
And
He
you're
went
like,
inside of his car for
bye.
a second, popped open his trunk, came back out, and told me to just wait by the trunk for a second.
No.
I had no idea what he wanted me to do. I was really confused.
And leave. I'd be like,
He walked over to the front of his
bye.
car, and I heard him open the hood. I couldn't see anything he was doing since the trunk was blocking my view, and the loud wind of the snowstorm overpowered any small noises he might have been making. I put my hand on the back of the car and leaned my body in anticipation, when suddenly I heard 3 or 4 quick and aggressive footsteps in the snow behind me before I was pushed into the trunk. The man tried to close the trunk on me,
no.
but I kicked my feet up
That's
in
why.
resistance and held it up. I was able to overpower him and kick the trunk open completely. As I took advantage of the few seconds I had to get out of the trunk, I took out my keys. He tried to grab me now, and I dug my house key right into his neck.
Oh.
He fell to his knees,
Oh,
and a scream echoed
yeah.
down the deserted street. I was
Yeah,
in my
get
car
that
and
house
halfway
key all
down the
bloody.
road before he could even get up from his knees.
Yeah, get that house key all rusty blood.
A little further down, I called 911 and reported the guy. I came back in 10 minutes to find blue and red lights illuminating the windows of the deserted stores. The police held him until the ambulance arrived for him. I watched the whole thing, and nothing ever felt better in my life. I got home safely half an hour later and told my family everything. I was still very shaken that Christmas, and this remains possibly the most horrific thing I've ever experienced.
Alright, that's the last one. Alright. Anyway, guys, that story was real because people always get locked in trunks. Mostly every day. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, then comment, like, or subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.